Include an OTC debit card of up to $255 a month if you qualify. Call them at 844-CPHL-CARES. That's 844-CPHL-CARES. Centers Plan for Healthy Living, LLC is an HMO with Medicare and Medicaid contracts. Enrollment in Centers Plan for Healthy Living depends on contract renewal.
Aaron Judge has broken the league record for most home runs in a season. To honor Judge, BigTimeBats.com is proud to release the officially licensed Aaron Judge Home Run Record Collection. The stunning Home Run Record Silver Chrome bat is limited to only 500 bats. Also available are the traditional maple wood bat and the two-tone high gloss Extremo bat. Go to BigTimeBats.com and get your part of baseball history now. That's BigTimeBats.com.
Wednesday's time, 6:56. Now, Bloomberg Money Watch. Here's Wendy Gillette.
Hiring slowed last month, according to the Labor Department's latest jobs report. Employers added 263,000 jobs, the smallest gain since April 2021. What economists view as potentially hopeful news that the Federal Reserve may be starting to make progress as it tries to cool inflation. The leisure and hospitality sector added the most jobs. Job growth was 315,000 in August. Last month, hourly wages rose 5% compared to a year earlier. But the unemployment rate dipped to 3.5%, down 0.2, matching a half-century low. Wall Street may be taking that as a sign the Fed will have to impose more rate hikes, and investors didn't like it. The Dow lost 630 points, more than 2%. The S&P slipped 105, nearly 3%, and the Nasdaq dropped 421, shy of 4%. CVS may be in a buying mood. Bloomberg has learned the drugstore chain is in exclusive talks to buy healthcare provider Cano Health. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 56 past every hour. I'm Wendy Gillette for 1010 Wins.
Wednesday's time, 6:57.
Attention. This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-729-0175. Vehicle protection plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-729-0175 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-729-0175. What do you have to lose? Call 800-729-0175. Again, 800-729-0175.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Imagine a world with endless possibilities. I'm talking endless saving and endless hot showers. Yeah, you heard me right. Endless hot showers. With Navien, that dream is now a reality. Navien tankless water heaters deliver a continuous flow of hot water for as long as you need it. No waiting for a tank to reheat more water, wasting time and energy. The compact design saves you space and money in comparison to traditional tank water heaters. It's time to make the switch and make your hot water dreams come true. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com.
WINS, WNEWHD3 New York.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
1010 Winds AccuWeather says cloudy, breezy, little chilly tonight if you're heading to Citi Field. We're going down to 46, but for the first pitch, the temperature will be about 68 degrees. You may see a shower pop up as well. That should be brief. Tomorrow, brisk, chilly with sunshine, some clouds, high 58. Tomorrow night's clear, cold once again, low 46. A little bit warmer on Sunday. Sunny, less windy, high 63. Nice conditions on Monday and Tuesday. Sunshine, temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Right now it is 72 degrees. Cloudy in New York. We are going way down to 46 degrees tonight. More people get their news from 1010 Winds than from any other radio station in the nation. Christian Alexander is our service aide. Zachary Newman is at the editor's desk this evening. I'm Lori Metton.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds, New
as the Mets host the Padres in Wild Card Game 1. Our Mark Ernay is there. He'll have a live report. Mayor Adams says the migrant crisis could cost the city $1 billion, so he's declaring a state of emergency. Subway rider went to the hospital this morning after someone released pepper spray. The search is on for some Nesquik robbers in Queens, and no, they don't have big floppy ears and bushy tails. The Nobel Prize Committee hits a sour note with Ukraine. Sports ahead of the Mets tonight. The Phillies and Guardians win their wild card games. The Mariners are poised to do the same in Toronto. 10-10 wins AccuWeather. Sun mixing with some clouds, warm with a bit of a breeze. And it looks like the weather forecast hasn't been updated. We're going to have to work on that. We'll figure out what the deal is with that. It's going to be fairly nice tonight. All right, so that's the way to start the evening. Winds news time 7:01. Traffic and transit. Greg Rice.
Hello and welcome to Fort Lee and the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex. You are watching and listening to the YouTube feed for the Fort Lee Bridgemen here in 2022. My name is Tommy Aquilina, and here we have a high school football matchup tonight. Should be a good one. Big division matchup between the Fort Lee Bridgemen and the Dwight Morrow Maroon Raiders. These teams and schools playing each other a lot this week in terms of the various schools on campus, and it's a matchup between 2-2-1 teams in the standings, so the winner of this game will take over, depending on what happens with the Cliffside Park game, either a share of second place by themselves or a share of first place in the Super Football Conference's Ivy White division. So the captains of both teams are meeting near midfield right now. Again, I mentioned both teams are 2-1 in division. Fort Lee 3-1 overall, and thankfully for me, the home team will be wearing their black jerseys and white uniform numbers as opposed to the black on black with the orange outline. It was very difficult to read those. Should be easier tonight to see, and also for me to describe to you what exactly is going on. Last time I called a game for Fort Lee, they wore those kind of black-on-black unis. That was a 13-12 victory against Newark East Side back on September 23rd. And then about a week later, they defeated Ferris on the road 42-0, a dominant win for the Bridgemen. So they're on a winning streak. They're looking to make it 3 in a row. And again, 3-1 overall on the season, 2-1 in division because they did lose to Cliffside Park back on September 16th. Cliffside Park 3-0. Fort Lee and Dwight Morrow both 2-1. To go over the Maroon Raiders, they are from Englewood, New Jersey, if you're unaware. They opened the season with a loss at Cliffside Park back on September 10th. Cliffside Park is very good this year. However, since then, the Maroon Raiders have gone 2-1. They beat Memorial on the road, and they got a dominant win over Ferris themselves, 44-0 back on September 23rd. And on September 30th, they lost to Eastside, 34-0. So Dwight Morrow has yet to play in October. They haven't scored a point in a game since September 23rd. So the Red Raiders, or the Maroon Raiders rather, Eastside is the Red Raiders. The Maroon Raiders looking to get back on track. Fort Lee, meanwhile, looking for their third consecutive victory before wrapping up the regular season next week at Memorial High School. The Bridgemen will be receiving first. Again, their black uniforms with white lettering. Unsurprisingly, the Maroon Raiders' colors are maroon and white, so they have maroon pants, white jerseys, and their maroon numbers and helmets. Final player gets back on the field. We are playing 11v11 football, and we are off. The first 12-minute quarter here is underway, and it's going to be a pretty good kickoff return for the Bridgemen. They're going to be at about the 35-yard line, so a pretty good starting spot. And now quarterback Raymond Lau and company will go to work. Charles Salame's team, a winning record last year, looking to stay above 500 in division this year. And again, stay in front of the Red Raiders, or the Maroon Raiders. Oh my goodness, we'll get there. Go over the numbers for Lau on the season. A 48.5 completion percentage, 154 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Starts things off with a handoff. It is the running game that makes this Bridgman offense go. And it's going to be a pretty decent carry to start the game. A solid running core for the Bridgman. It is primarily led by Savion Camano, Aiden Colon, David Gutierrez, and Tajon Burns. We should be seeing a lot of those four tonight. Right now it looks like it is Burns, number 26, flanking Lau, and we have a whistle and a penalty. This might go against Dwight Morrow. And it is an offsides penalty against the Maroon Raiders, and so that will set Fort Lee up at the 46-yard line. Not quite a minute gone by here in the first quarter. Burns is one of the primary playmakers for the Bridgman. 299 rushing yards on the season. That leads the team. He also has 34 receiving yards. That's second on the team. And 4 total touchdowns, all of them on the ground. Lau hands it off to him. He's going to get into Maroon Raider territory past the 50 and to about the opponent 48 or 47-yard line. So that'll make it second and short for Lau, Burns, and the Bridgman offense. Burns now over 300 rushing yards on the season here in the 5th game of the year. Stats that I will be giving tonight courtesy of Max Preps. Another handoff to Burns. He goes to his left. There is a flag on the play. Burns still going, and he finally gets taken down by several Dwight Morrow players at about the 40-yard line. Let's see what this flag is about.
Holding on the opposite team.
This time it's going to be offensive holding, so 1 penalty now against each team. Take away that carry for Burns. He's just got 1 on the night now. And now he's going to be replaced by number 8, Aiden Colon. Colon right behind him, 286 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on the season for the junior. Burns a senior. Camano, Colon, and Gutierrez, all juniors. So a veteran and productive running back core. Burns to the left of Lau. Now he moves over to the right. It's a fake handoff. No, they do end up handing it off. It is Camano, or rather Colon, who takes it. He gets tripped up. Was he down before he lost the ball? Yes, he was. According to Max Preps, this is a Bridgman offense that has yet to lose a fumble, although some players, including Lau, have been known to put the ball on the ground. Colon comes out of the game, replaced by Gutierrez. And to give you the specific numbers on him, again, according to Max Preps, Gutierrez, 23 carries on the season for 188 yards, and also 3 touchdowns himself. 3rd down. Lau hands it off to Burns. Huge hole for Tajon Burns. Oh, now he sheds a tackle, and he's inside the 30-yard line. Nice job by the Bridgman offensive line. Also a nice job getting some yards even after contact for Burns. About 3 minutes gone by here in the opening quarter, and a solid opening drive for the Bridgman. They've outscored opponents 104-41 this season. Fort Lee trying to get on the board early here in this Friday night matchup. Lau's pass is completed. And getting tackled near the right sideline is number 11, Paul Kim. Kim, the junior, he leads the team with 42 receiving yards and 1 touchdown on the season. That's his 3rd catch of the year.
Gain 8 on the play, 2nd and 2 from the 19.
Again, it is an offense led by the running attack for Fort Lee. Kim with an 8-yard reception, so 3 catches now for 50 yards on the season. It's going to be 2nd and short for the Bridgemen, 2nd and 2 to be specific. Now they hand it off to Camano. Camano going to his left. He does get tackled. Fort Lee is in the red zone. Give you the specifics on Camano. 20 carries on the season for 207 yards entering this one, so about 10 yards per carry, and 2 rushing touchdowns of his own. Between Camano, Colon, Gutierrez, and Burns, 12 rushing touchdowns for the Bridgemen. No gain on the play for Camano, so it's 3rd and 2. They hand it off to Gutierrez. Gutierrez has the first down. And they're going to move the chains. Friday night matchup under the lights between 2 division opponents, Fort Lee and Dwight Morrow. We also have a full moon, and you know what they say about a full moon. Crazy things happen under a full moon, so we should be in for a good one tonight. Both teams trying to improve to 3-1 in the division. Lau hands it off again, running up the gut and getting tackled is Aiden Colon. Short of the end zone. But Fort Lee is getting closer. Head coach Charlie Salame has to be happy with this opening drive, but of course he wants his team to punch it in. Another handoff, it's Gutierrez. Gutierrez going up the middle. And stopped short of the goal line.
Gutierrez on the run. Down to the 1-yard line, tackled by Maxwell. Will be 1st and goal to the 1-yard line.
First down and goal at the 1. Fort Lee trying to take the lead early. They are looking for their 3rd win in a row. It's a handoff. It's Burns. It's a touchdown. Fort Lee. Tajon Burns, his 5th rushing score of the season, and the Fort Lee Bridgemen take a 6-0 lead over Dwight Morrow. A very impressive opening drive for the Bridgemen. It takes up not quite half of the first quarter, and again, they have the lead. 12-minute quarters here in high school, so that took up 5 minutes, 58 seconds. And the extra point attempt is good. Stasi Katsayanis, now 10 for 10 on the season in points after the touchdown. It's a 7-0 lead for the Bridgemen, 6:02 to go in the first quarter. So Fort Lee with a very impressive drive. They mainly just ran the ball down the throat of the Maroon Raiders. Lau also completed 1 pass. I believe it was the only pass he attempted, as he looks to get to a 50% completion percentage on the season. And then ultimately it's a 1-yard touchdown run for Tajon Burns, his 5th of the year. Extra point from Katsayanis, and it's a 7-0 lead for Fort Lee. Now they will kick it off to the Maroon Raiders, and we will see what Dwight Morrow is able to make happen. Couple players back to receive. It looks like number 27, Arion Williams, is one of them. Also looks like number 6, Shakur Merritt. Ball in the air. It's neither one of those players who ends up catching it. And getting taken down just shy of the 35-yard line is number 32, Damani Williams. Williams listed as a quarterback and defensive back. However, the primary quarterback, according to Max Preps for Dwight Morrow, has been number 15, Aaron Tinsley, the sophomore. Damani Williams himself is a sophomore. And it looks like it will be Tinsley, number 15, under center in this one, or at least to start. Speaking of low completion percentages, Tinsley only at 28.6% on the year, according to Max Preps. He has 57 passing yards, 54 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown of each variety. Going to hand the ball off to start things off. We're going to see a lot of handoffs tonight. The primary ball carriers for Dwight Morrow are the aforementioned Ariane Williams, a freshman, and the junior, number 5, Jordan Moorer. 3 rushing touchdowns between them.
4-yard gain on play, 2nd and 6 from 37.
Second down and 5, ball on the 37-yard line. Player in motion. No flag there for someone starting the play early. And it's going to be a huge loss of yardage on that play for Dwight Morrow. I do not see anyone on the roster sheet listed as number 3, but it was number 3 who carried the ball there for Dwight Morrow.
3rd and 16 for the 27.
The Maroon Raiders are 2-1 in division. However, they're 2-2 overall. They're coming off a loss, and they're 1-2 on the road this season. Fort Lee trying to make that 1-3. It's 3rd and 16, loss of 11 on the play. Tinsley's going to have to pass. He is back to pass. The right-handed gunslinger now running to his right, being chased, and he is going to be tackled. That should go down as a sack. And I did not see exactly who got to him. It was Gutierrez for Fort Lee. This is high school football, so a lot of these players play offense and defense. David Gutierrez getting some running attempts on the opening drive and also making the play there defensively for the Bridgemen. It's a quick 3-and-out for Dwight Morrow, assuming they do in fact punt here. Burns is back to receive. He usually does that for the Bridgemen. The Maroon Raiders setting up to punt. And in fact, they're going to. It's a very short kick. Burns is not even going to receive it. The kick lands in Maroon Raider territory. A player touches it down before the situation gets even worse, but phenomenal field position for Fort Lee, and they're going to have an opportunity to score quickly again. 3:28 to go here in the first quarter, and Fort Lee back on the field. So, I mean, you really can't ask for a better start if you are head coach Charlie Salame. A methodical touchdown drive that takes up almost half of the first quarter, and then a 3-and-out for the Bridgemen. Now they have an opportunity to take a multi-score lead as they're set up on the Dwight Morrow 40. Lau hands off to Cologne. Cologne running to his left. Finally gets touched. He has the first down and then some. That's going to be a 15-plus yard carry for Cologne. And it is not surprising for the Bridgemen to see really all of the running backs that we've mentioned already go for long runs. That is something we've seen a lot all throughout the season. Even in their low-scoring 13-12 win a couple weeks ago. Now it's Burns next to Lau. Players in motion. That was an 18-yard carry for Cologne. Here it's Gutierrez getting the carry. And it's going to be a short run this time for the Bridgemen.
2-yard gain by Gutierrez, 2nd and 8 at 20.
A very good start for Fort Lee, who went 4-3 in division last year, looking to improve to 3-1 this season. Also looking to improve to 2-0 in October, because their 42-0 win against Ferris was on the 1st of the month. Another handoff to Burns. He goes to his left. inside the red zone, and Burns actually close to the 10-yard line.
Burns on the carry for a 9-yard gain. First and 10 at the 11.
So a new set of downs for the Bridgemen.
Tackled by Fields and Moore.
Under 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Fort Lee looking to score twice in the opening quarter. Came in averaging 26 points per game, if my math is right. Handoff to Cologne. He goes up the middle. Gets kind of sandwiched there by a couple defenders.
Cologne, pick up a 7. It'll be
Speaking of which, there is a Maroon Raider on the field who is down and not getting up. Gets checked on by a couple Fort Lee players. No one on his own team for the moment, and we're going to have a timeout on the field. 1:28 to go here in the first quarter. When play resumes, it'll be 2nd and 3 from the 5 for Fort Lee, as they already hold a 7-0 lead. I'm going to step aside really quickly. Okay, we are back. The Maroon Raider made it to the sideline. They get their 11th player on the field here. 2nd and 3 from the 5. Lau hands it off. It's Burns again, and this time it's a loss of yardage for Tajon Burns and the Bridgemen.
Burns on the carry.
Lau heading to the sideline, as he does after most plays.
Fields and Williams on the tackle. Russell 1. 3rd and 4 from the
Getting told the plan, and he will then relay it to his teammates. Mentioned how happy I am that Fort Lee has the white numbers. It is so much easier to read. They also have their cool decal helmets. Like a matte black helmet with the orange stripe down the middle. I like it. Loss of 1 on the play, so it's 3rd and 4. About 30 seconds to go here in the first quarter. They hand it off again. This time it's Cologne. And once again, Cologne stopped short of the goal line.
top by Williams.
So an impressive defensive stand by Dwight Morrow. And let's see what the plan is now here for Coach Salome. It looks like they
From the 4-yard line. 3-yard line.
might go for a field goal. Not really sure what they're going to do. Whatever it is, they might just let the clock run down to triple zeros and wait until the second quarter. And that is exactly what they're going to do.
That's the end of the first quarter.
So there's the whistle, assuming you heard that. And the first quarter is over. It was a good one for the Fort Lee Bridgemen. They scored on their opening drive. They got a 3-and-out defensively, and now they are right on the doorstep of scoring again. However, it is 4th and 4.
The Bridgemen would like to acknowledge and thank the sports medicine staff for their assistance in providing medical coverage for our student athletes this evening.
Once again, I'll step aside really quickly. When we resume this game here in the second quarter, I'll be back.
Sex-related charges. He is currently awaiting trial on separate charges of sexually abusing dozens of young and unsuspecting female patients over 2 decades. Mayor Adams declaring a state of emergency over asylum seekers being set up by Republican border state governors.
Mayor Eric Adams says the demand being put on the city to provide housing and other assistance is unsustainable.
The city is going to run out of funding for other priorities. New York City is doing all we can, but we are reaching the outer limit of our ability to help.
The Democrat wants the state and the feds to help financially and the government to do more overall. Meanwhile, the Randall's Island migrant tent will open soon, and his executive order allows even more.
To construct a humanitarian relief centers, we are also suspending certain to expedite this process.
Adams says
Tommy Aquilina back here with you at the Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex here in Fort Lee. 4th and 1 from the 4 for the Fort Lee Bridgemen. Do they go for the field goal here? Do they try to get the first down? Do they go for the touchdown? Burns up the middle, and it's a touchdown on 4th down for the Bridgemen. So Burns on the opening drive of the game, a 1-yard touchdown run. Now on the first play of the second quarter, it's a 4-yard touchdown run, and the Bridgemen take a 13-0 lead. Can Katsayanis make it 14-0? Yes, he can. 2 touchdown runs for Burns, 2 PATs for Katsayanis. It is a 14-0 lead for Fort Lee, just 12 minutes and 5 seconds into this game. For Burns, that is his 6th rushing touchdown of the season. And for Katsayanis, he has not attempted a field goal this year, but he is a perfect 11 for 11 on points after. It is a 2-touchdown lead for the Bridgemen. And honestly, judging by how the game has gone so far, it might already be danger period time for the Maroon Raiders. Dwight Morrow has run 3 offensive plays, 4 if you include their punt, although that's really more of a special teams play. Meanwhile, Fort Lee has 2 touchdown plays. Couple players back to receive for the Maroon Raiders, but actually scratch that. We have a flag on the play. It's a false start against Fort Lee, so they're going to have to back up and do that again. You might notice the flags for the officials and referees are pink, celebrating October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. First game of the month for the Maroon Raiders. The Bridgemen, meanwhile, won on October 1st, so they are 1-0 here in October. It's number 72, Josh Efremov, kicking off for the Bridgemen. Kind of squibs it. The ball is hauled in, and then the Maroon Raider player basically just fell down immediately, and another player fell down on top of him to really make sure they didn't lose the ball. Like I said, danger period time for the Maroon Raiders. They've been outplayed in pretty much every area so far, so it is paramount that they at least have a decent drive here. Dwight Morrow will start things off from the 40-yard line. It'll be quarterback Aaron Tinsley and co. Looks like 4 designated receivers. Player in motion. Do we start things off with a handoff? Yes, we do. And getting tackled for a loss of yardage is Arion Williams. Williams, the freshman, having a very good season. Looking at the Max Preps statistics for him on the year. 29 carries coming into this one for 254 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then I also mentioned Jordan Moorer. He has 3 rushing touchdowns on the year. The junior with 35 carries for 321 yards coming into this one. Williams lost 3 yards on that last run, so it'll be 2nd and 13 from the 37. Still not a minute gone by here in the second quarter, rather, and still in the huddle are the Maroon Raiders. This offense goes through their rushing attack. Tinsley fakes a handoff, And he just becomes a runner himself. And he gets tackled, it looks like, at the 36-yard line.
Rodriguez on the tackle. Also one on the play, be 3rd and 14 for the 36.
Making the tackle on that play for the Bridgemen was number 57, Joel Rodriguez. Entered this game with 9 tackles on the season, according to Max Preps. And I believe it was a loss of 1 on the play. So it's going to be 3rd and 14 for the Maroon Raiders. 2 minutes gone by here in the second quarter. Dwight Morrow went 3 and out their first time with the ball, trying to avoid the same fate here. Tinsley back to pass on 3rd and long. Pass is completed, but they're only going to get to about the line of scrimmage. Looks like it was number 10, E.J. Maxwell, who made the reception. And I believe it was a 7-yard reception, but that was on 3rd and 14. So now it's 4th and 7. They are in their own territory, the Maroon Raiders are. And so let's see how they play this. Dwight Morrow looking like they might punt here, so Burns now back to receive. Dwight Morrow's Arion Williams leaves the field. And he's going to have to be replaced by another player, so they have 11 on the field. So coming on is number 30, Isaiah Pompey. A player gets repositioned. Looks like Dwight Morrow will indeed punt. They do. Punt is nearly blocked, and instead Dwight Morrow gets a very favorable roll, but they do not down the ball before it goes out of bounds. That was Merritt there, who was unable to get a hand on it and stop it, so a flag on the play, and Fort Lee will get to get a few extra yards. So Fort Lee has had the ball twice. They've scored 2 touchdowns. Dwight Morrow has had the ball twice, and they've had 2 3-and-outs. 14-0 Bridgeman, 8:50 to go here in the second quarter. Joe Hoyle's Maroon Raiders went just 2-6 last year. They're already 2-2 this year, but having a rough go of it here to start underneath the Friday night lights. Lau hands it off. It's a fake handoff. Cologne up the middle, finally caught by a couple defenders. If they hadn't gotten to him, he might have been off to the races, but it's a very good opening run for the Bridgemen nonetheless. So we've seen Cologne and Gutierrez running all over the place. However, Burns has gotten both scores so far for the Bridgemen. And now he's going to flank the quarterback Lau on this play. It has been a rushing onslaught here in the first half for the Bridgemen. First down from the 45. They fake the handoff to Burns. Lau almost gets sacked. Instead, he gets the pass off. Gabe Jimenez makes the catch. 2 defenders just barely bring him down. That was a struggle for the Maroon Raiders. A really good catch, really good yards after contact for Gabe Jimenez. Jimenez went off defensively in the 13-12 win for the Bridgemen back on September 23rd. That is also his 3rd catch of the year. He's a tight end when he plays offense for the Bridgemen, entered with 2 catches for 25 yards. The long first down catch there. Now Lau does hand it off to Burns. Burns up the middle. Shedding tackles left and right. Inside the 20-yard line goes Tajon Burns. Once again, there is a Maroon Raider down. They are getting just eaten alive, Dwight Morrow is, in the trenches. Fort Lee mostly wants to run the ball, but they are getting whatever they want. Lau has made the pass plays he has been asked to make, but it has mostly been a rushing attack and a dominant one for Fort Lee. I'll step aside for the injury timeout. Be back in a minute. We're back, or I'm back. You never really went anywhere. That was number 56, the senior Anthony Singleton for the Maroon Raiders. Made it off the field under his own power. It would be a tough blow if he does not come back. He is among the team leaders with 28 tackles this season, one of which was a sack. About 7 minutes to play here in the first half. Fort Lee scored on each of their first 2 possessions, looking to make it 3 for 3. Lau sets players in motion, now hands off to Cologne. Cologne unable to shed a tackle. Really good tackle for a loss right there for the Maroon Raiders. That was number 10, E.J. Maxwell.
Loss of 6 on the play, 2nd and 16 for the 24-yard line.
Tackle for a loss of 6 yards for Maxwell. It'll be 2nd and 16 for the Bridgemen. From the 24. We have a whistle. What's this about? Looks like it's a timeout. Taken by Fort Lee. Charlie Salome wants to make sure his team has a good play drafted, drawn up, and ready to go. So first timeout of the half. It is used by Fort Lee. They have 2 remaining, still all 3 for the Maroon Raiders. 2nd and 16. 6 minutes and 14 seconds to go here in the first half. And it really has been all Fort Lee all the time. While we have a chance, let's take a look at the standings. This is according to Max Preps. Cliffside Park, they've beaten Fort Lee, they've beaten Dwight Morrow. They are 4-0 on the year, 3-0 in conference. And so they're in first place. Fort Lee and Dwight Morrow both enter this one at 2-1. Fort Lee has a better overall record, but they're tied for second place in the Ivy White division of the Super Football Conference. And then right behind them is Eastside. Fort Lee beat them 13-12 on September 23rd. They're 2-2 on the year. And then Memorial and Kearney are both 1-2. And then Ferris is 0-5. Yikes. All right, timeout over. 2nd and 16 for Fort Lee. Lau takes the low pass. Or the low snap, rather. He makes a short pass, and it's going to be a pretty big loss of yardage. Or actually, it's really going to be, they're just going to get to the line of scrimmage.
Tackle by D. Williams. Loss of 1. 3rd and 17 to 25.
It's a loss of 1 on the play. The completion percentage for Lau does go up, though. So it'll be 3rd and 17 with about 5.5 minutes to go. Lau back to pass again, almost gets sacked. He does get the pass off. It's Burns making the catch. Burns breaks a tackle, and Burns is into the end zone for the touchdown. Tajon Burns, he has 2 rushing carries. Now he makes something out of nothing. A nearly broken play. It's his first receiving touchdown of the year, and it's a 20-0 lead for the Bridgemen. Fantastic play all around. A Maroon Raider defender basically had a free run at Lau. He just barely got the pass off before getting hammered on the play, and he gets credited for a touchdown. It's his second touchdown pass of the year. Now it's Katsayanis to make it 21-0. And he does. 3 drives, 3 touchdowns, Fort Lee 21, Dwight Morrow 0, 5:18 to go here in the second quarter. Have a night in the first half, Tajon Burns. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown for Burns. That gives him 7 total TDs on the year. As for Lau, that is his second touchdown pass of the season, along with 2 interceptions. And really, for Dwight Morrow, you have to feel like if they're not able to score on this drive, they're really in some trouble. It has been a rough go of it offensively and defensively for a team that lost 8 days ago, 34-0 to Eastside. Squib kick from Efremov. The ball is handled, and for the second time, a Maroon Raider player goes down and has another one fall on top of him. I haven't really ever seen that. I guess you can never be too careful, and had they lost the ball in their own territory, that would have been bad, considering they're already down by 3 scores and we're not even halfway through this game. It's going to be 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line for Tinsley and the Maroon Raiders. Now, and this is totally on the backs of their dominant win over a bad Ferris team, but Dwight Morrow has outscored opponents on the season, 76-59 coming into this one. So actually, as of right now, that's no longer true that they've outscored opponents. Anyway, Tinsley with a handoff, and getting tackled for a loss of yards is Williams.
Hey, Williams in the counter, Rodriguez on the tackle.
Once again, that was Joel Rodriguez making the tackle. He entered this one with 9 tackles on the season, 4 of them for a loss. And on the last 2 or 3 plays of the game, he's had 2 more tackles for a loss. Not only an impressive offensive performance, also a pretty dominant defensive performance so far for the Bridgemen. Loss of 4 on the play, so it's 2nd and 14. Tinsley hands it off to Williams again. This time Williams goes up the middle. Not only positive yards, but like a solid, good run right there for Arion Williams. And he gets past the 35-yard line. Gets to the 37 specifically. So it's going to be 3rd and 9. Not great, not awful for Dwight Morrow. Make that 3rd and 7. So manageable. Looking to avoid a 3rd 3 and out. And Dwight Morrow wants to make absolutely sure they know what they're doing here as they take a timeout. They're first of the half. 3:45 to go here in the opening half. Fort Lee up 21-0 as they have scored on Burns touchdowns on all 3 of their possessions. Joe Hoyle's Maroon Raiders, 3 and out, and now 3rd and 7 at the 37-yard line. Mentioned that last year they went just 2-6. They were 1-6 in division. Much more successful season for Fort Lee last year. They went 4-3 in division, but this year the 2 teams are currently both 2-1. And again, a win tonight and a Cliffside Park loss would tie one of these teams for first place. Technically, Cliffside Park did beat Dwight Morrow 17-12 back on September 10th. and they beat Fort Lee 6 days later, 21-14.
3rd and 7 for the 37.
Those were both home games for Cliffside Park. All right, here we go. 3:45 to go in the second half. The clock is running. It's 3rd and 7. Tinsley takes a high snap, looking to pass, sends it over the middle, and the pass is intercepted. Intercepted as Tinsley threw it into double or triple coverage. Fort Lee comes away with it. That was Jaden Lugo making the interception grab and running it back for a decent amount of yardage for Fort Lee. So Lugo with his first interception of the season. And then he takes it back for, I believe, 9 yards to the Dwight Morrow 28. So Fort Lee is once again in business. Plenty of time, 3:24 to go in the second quarter. Lau, back to pass, under pressure, slings it over the middle. Kim unable to make the grab. So I guess the good news for Dwight Morrow is they didn't technically go 3 and out, although that was their third play of the drive, and it was an interception. So not a good start offensively for the Maroon Raiders. For Tinsley, that was his first interception of the season. A handoff this time. Cologne had a little bit of difficulty getting going there, but it's still a decent run on second down. It's going to be 3rd and manageable. Third and 5 after the 5-yard run for Aiden Cologne. We have not seen much of Savion Camano in this one. It's mostly been Cologne and Burns doing the carrying, and they've been doing a fine job on their own. Coach Salame will take a timeout. Second of the half for Fort Lee. 2:41 to go in the first half. 3rd and 5 on the 23-yard line. Basic summary of this game for Fort Lee on their 3 drives. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And for Dwight Morrow, 3 and out, interception. Now Fort Lee looking to make it 4 for 4 here, scores and possessions. They have it at the 23-yard line, looking to really step on the throats of the Maroon Raiders. Plenty of time left for Dwight Morrow to make a comeback. We're still in the first half, but they have shown an inability to really even move the football. They haven't been able to stop Fort Lee either, although Burns' second touchdown run did come on 4th down. Let's see if the Maroon Raiders can slow down Fort Lee here. It's Burns on the carry. Burns fighting for the first down. Several players on both sides trying to push him one way or the other. Burns got enough for the first down. So they will move the chains. It was the freshman Luke Senatori playing quarterback on that play as opposed to Lau. He does that every once in a while. But now Lau is back out there. We are approaching the 2-minute, not warning, but the 2-minute mark here in the second quarter. Lau hands it off to Gutierrez. And it looked like we had whistles before the play ended, but I don't see any flags. Gutierrez was forced out of bounds. It's a short gain.
2-yard loss in the play, second 12 from the 20.
Actually going to be a slight loss of yardage on the play. A loss of 2 on that one for Gutierrez. So it'll be second down and 12 from exactly the 20-yard line. Lau takes the low snap, hands it off to Cologne. And Cologne makes up for those lost yards and then some. So after Gutierrez lost 2, it's a gain of 8 on that carry for number 8. Aiden Cologne, 3rd and 4 from the 12-yard line. Still more than a minute to play with here for Fort Lee. Burns flanking Lau. Burns gets the handoff, then hands it off himself to Cologne. Some trickery there for the Bridgeman. It was enough for the first down. Cologne going to get credit for the carry and the first on that one. They've spotted the ball, and the clock has started to run again. 45 seconds to go here in the first half. Fort Lee does have 1 timeout, but they probably don't want to use it. It's 1st and goal from the 6. Lau sending Cologne in motion. Now rolling to his left. Lau tosses it into the end zone. Did he get his feet down? Yes, he did. Paul Kim with the touchdown reception. Fort Lee has scored on all 4 of their possessions here in the first half. Second touchdown pass of the year for Lau. Second touchdown reception of the year for Kim. Or I lied, that's actually the second touchdown of the game for Lau. 3rd touchdown pass of the season. And Katsianis on now for the extra point. He misses it. It looked like a Dwight Morrow player. Arion Williams actually might have left a hair before the whistle, but it was not called. He definitely influenced the kick. Katsianis misses the extra point for the first time all season, actually.
As we close in at halftime, stop by the concession stand again for all your favorite stadium eats. Tonight's specials again include hot dogs, chicken fingers, empanadas, hot chocolates, and much more. It's on the concourse by the entry gate. Thank you.
What a first half for the Fort Lee Bridgemen, specifically for Raymond Lau, Paul Kim, and Tajon Burns. Burns, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. Lau has thrown 2 touchdown passes. Paul Kim has a touchdown reception. Stasi Katsianis is 3 for 4 in extra points. It is a 27-0 lead for the Bridgemen here with 23.1 seconds left in the second quarter. Already the 3rd most points scored in a game by Fort Lee, and we are only in the first half. They hung 42 on Ferris last week, and in their opening game of the season, they beat Hapatcong 35-8. That was their non-conference game. There is a flag on the field here. Fort Lee is going to have to do it again as the penalty goes against them. So a frame off to kick from the 35. Nothing went wrong for Dwight Morrow on that play. They have good field position, but only 23.1 seconds of time to do anything with that field position. To be honest, if I were Coach Joe Hoyle, I might just kind of knee it or run a non-competitive play here and let things go to halftime. We'll see how the Maroon Raiders play this. They will receive the second half kickoff. They're also down by 4 scores.
Ball spot at the 45.
Tinsley does not handle the snap. No one has it yet. Recovered by Fort Lee. Wait, no. Yes, it was recovered by Fort Lee. Second turnover of the half. Paul Kim is very excited, and he should be. It has been a dominant 24 minutes here for the Bridgemen, and they will probably just let us go to halftime here. A bad snap that Aiden Tinsley could not corral. And it's a turnover on not a turnover on downs. It is a giveaway on back-to-back plays for the Maroon Raiders. 15 seconds to go here in the first half. Fort Lee might try for the quick score here. Lau back to pass. Launches it to the end zone. And the pass was a little bit short. He had Isaiah Stang wide open. Lau didn't quite reach him. Still 9.6 seconds left in the second quarter. Fort Lee has had the ball 4 times. They've scored 4 touchdowns for the Maroon Raiders. Turnover on downs, turnover on downs, turnover via interception, turnover via fumble. And that's pretty much all you need to know. Second down and 10 from the 30 for the Bridgemen. They do have 1 timeout. Probably going to make another play for the end zone here. Lau back to pass. Trying to avoid a defender. Now going to take it himself to the 20. And Lau gets knocked out of bounds with 1.6 seconds remaining on the clock. Fort Lee will have time for one more play as they look to go 5 for 5 in first half scores. Stang has mostly played defense this year for the Bridgemen. He does have 1 20-yard reception on the season. That would have been his first touchdown catch of the year. Instead, it's followed by a long run for Lau. And I would imagine they'll go with another run play here, or pass play, I should say. Raymond Lau now with 3 passing touchdowns on the season, only 2 interceptions here in 4.5 games. First and 10 from the 12. Lau is indeed back to pass. Throws it into the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. Isaiah Stang gets his first touchdown of the season. It is a 3-touchdown half for Raymond Lau. And Fort Lee, incredibly, had the ball 5 different times in the first 24 minutes of the game, and they scored a touchdown all 5 times. Katsayanis for the extra point. It's wide right. So he's actually missed 2 in a row, but no matter. It is still a 33-0 lead for the Fort Lee Bridgemen. They're playing underneath the lights, but the brightest lights that have shined tonight have come from the Fort Lee sideline. I will step aside for halftime, and we will come back after the halftime festivities and detail a dominant first 24 minutes for the Bridgemen. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex. Right now, the Dwight Morrow Maroon Raiders are coming back out onto the field, and we are just starting to see the Fort Lee Bridgemen. So we are about ready. In a little under 3 minutes, we should be actually on our way here in the second half. Don't know if you could see number 56, Ruben Mancia, very excited for the Bridgeman as he comes back out for the second half, greeting a lot of the players that come by. He should be excited. What a dominant first half for the Fort Lee Bridgemen. So, I'm Tommy Aquilina. You're watching Fort Lee football here on YouTube. Let's go over the first half a little bit. Raymond Lau threw 3 touchdown passes. He only had 1 all year. He's gone off today. Not only has Lau played well, I mentioned it's the rushing attack that gets it done for Fort Lee. Today, that has been the case. Primarily Tajon Burns and Aiden Colon. Burns entered the day with 4 rushing touchdowns on the season. He has 2 more today, plus a receiving touchdown, a 3 TD day for Burns, a 3 TD day and half for Raymond Lau. The other 2 passing touchdowns were to Paul Kim, who leads the team in receptions and receiving yards this season, and Isaiah Stang, who catches his first touchdown pass of the year. First touchdown catch for the senior Stang. It is 33-0. The reason it's not 35-0 is because Stasi Katsayanis missed a couple points after the touchdown. Still 3 out of 5 on the day, 12 out of 14 on the season, and really those 2 missed extra points were the only muffs whatsoever for Fort Lee. They really did everything. They scored a touchdown on all 5 of their possessions in the first half. Meanwhile, Dwight Morrow had 4 possessions in the first half. 2 of them were 3 and outs. Then there was an interception, and then there was a fumble, which Fort Lee recovered, and they scored another touchdown in the last half minute of the second half, or of the second quarter, I should say. Second half, about to be underway. Each team stretching and getting ready for the final 24 minutes. Could go by more quickly than the first 24 minutes did, as Fort Lee is firmly in control here. Playing underneath the Friday night lights, and the Fort Lee Bridgemen definitely came out to play. If they do hold on for the win, this would be their 3rd consecutive victory, and then in 6 days, they will be at Memorial High School for what Max Preps has, or for what NJ.com, I should say, has listed as their final regular season game of the year. Fort Lee entered this one 3-1 overall and 2-1 in the Ivy White division of the Super Football Conference. Dwight Morrow also entered 2-1, so this is a battle for second place, or actually, depending on what happens with Cliffside Park, a share of first place, although Cliffside Park has already beaten both the Bridgemen and the Maroon Raiders this year. Fort Lee looking to improve to 2-0 on the season at home, looking to win their 3rd in a row and improve to 2-0 in October, and 3-1 in division. They would be 4-1 overall. 24 minutes and a 33-point lead stand in between them and all of those finishes, or records, I guess I should say, for now. Fort Lee got the opening kickoff, and they did score a touchdown on that drive, as well as all of their subsequent first half drives. So the Maroon Raiders will receive here to start the second half. Josh Efremov with a little bit of a squib kick. It is touched right away. I don't think the ball traveled 5 yards, or 10 yards, I should say. So it would be Maroon Raider ball anyway.
Kick was recovered by 35. Dwight Morrow takes over at their own 48-yard line.
The ball was hauled in by number 35 on Dwight Morrow. I do not have a player listed as number 35 on the roster sheet here. We are doing a running clock, as it is quite a large lead for the Fort Lee Bridgemen. 33-0. Dwight Morrow will start off with good field position at their own 48. Is that Aaron Tinsley at the QB position? No, it's not. It is a handoff to Arion Williams, and he's going to get just about 1 yard.
Hey, Williams on the carry, gain of 1. Tackle him, it is.
It was number 32, Damani Williams, the sophomore, who took the snap on that play. Let's see if Damani Williams stays in there here in the second half. Right now it is Williams coming back out. So it looks like head coach Joe Hoyle might have turned to the sophomore. Aaron Tinsley himself is a sophomore. He threw an interception, and I guess he would get the one charged with the fumble lost on what was the last offensive play of the first half. Huge tackle for a loss here. That's Damani Williams handing off to Arion Williams. And then a tackle made for a loss by number 66 on Fort Lee. Don't have a number 66 on the roster sheet. Number 65 is the freshman Dylan Herrera. And number 69 is another freshman, Jason Arias. Might see some younger players get out there for Fort Lee and get some experience. 3rd and 14. Dwight Morrow does not have a first down yet in this game. Once again, it is Damani Williams at the quarterback position. You would assume they would throw here on 3rd and long. They fake a handoff. Now Williams rolling to his right. The left-handed thrower now doubles back. Now he's going to take it himself. He might have the first down. He does have the first down. Only one man in front of him. He gets knocked out of bounds. Wow, wow, wow. Damani Williams really made something out of nothing there. He ran to his right. There were too many people there. He went the other way and had a huge gain. Biggest play of the night, I believe, for Dwight Morrow. Not that they've had too many big plays.
29-yard gain on the play. 1st and 10 from the Brisbane 27.
So they get all the way to the Fort Lee 27 on that play. A little more than 3 minutes gone by here. Dwight Morrow going to have to work quickly if they want to get back in this one, but for now, 1 score at a time. As they're looking to just get on the board. Dwight Morrow has not scored a point since September 23rd when they beat Ferris 44-0. They got blanked last week by Newark Eastside, now trailing 33-0 here in the 3rd quarter. Damani Williams hands off there. Handed it off to number 3. I don't have a number 3 on the roster sheet. I don't believe there was a gain on that play. There was not a gain. There was actually a loss of 1. So 2nd and 11 from the 28-yard line now for the Maroon Raiders. They scored 76 points in their first 3 games of the season, which is pretty good, but none in their last 6 quarters of football, at least. Williams gets the snap, fakes a handoff. Williams right into a running back position, and he gets cut down at the 25-yard line. That was Isaiah Stang making the tackle. Mentioned that Stang caught his first touchdown pass of the season. Definitely an exciting moment for the senior, although he has played a lot of defense this year for Fort Lee. Entering this game, Max Preps had him listed as having 6 tackles on the season. Got one there, and it's going to be 3rd and 6 for Dwight Morrow. So Dwight Morrow has gotten a first down. They've avoided a 3 and out. Can they avoid a turnover and maybe get points on the board? We will see. It's 3rd and 6. Given the running clock and them being in Fort Lee territory, you would think this might be 4 down land, but we will see. Back to pass is Williams, trying to avoid pressure. Gets a pass off. It was once again Arion Williams getting the touch as he makes the catch. It will be short of the first down.
No gain, it'll be 4th and 6 to the 24.
Actually, no gain on the play, so Damani Williams completes a pass, but it is 4th down and 6 as we are 6 minutes into the second half. So they are going to go for it here on 4th down. Really no reason not to. Standing next to Williams is Michael Ramirez, number 7. Once again, a miffed. Once again, a fumble recovery on the snap. That is the second time tonight that Dwight Morrow has thrown a snap away. It is going to be the 3rd turnover of the night. So 5 drives for Dwight Morrow. They have turned the ball over 3 times, plus 2 more times on downs. Hobbling off the field on 1 foot is Ruben Mancia for Fort Lee, but he'll get some rest as his offense now goes out there. So Dwight Morrow's had the ball 5 times. They've turned the ball over, or turned it over on downs all 5 times. Fort Lee is 5 for 5 in scoring touchdowns, already more than 7 minutes gone by because of the running clock here in the 3rd quarter. Time, obviously, the friend of the Fort Lee Bridgemen. Raymond Lau, a 3-touchdown first half, now with 4 on the season, back out for work. Ball at the 35-yard line for Fort Lee. Lau hands it off. That's David Gutierrez. And it's going to be a 6-yard run for Gutierrez to the 41. Damani Williams actually made the tackle on that play. So Damani Williams pulling double duty here. So is Arion Williams, actually. Number 27 is out there as well. It's a running clock, so Fort Lee doesn't have to worry about running, passing. They can just do whatever they want to do here. It's a handoff to Burns. He has 3 touchdowns on the day. Burns now has what I believe is going to be a first down. That is definitely going to be a first down.
Burns on the carry. Be a first down for the Bridgemen.
So Fort Lee moves the chains once again. About 3.5 to go here in the 3rd quarter. And the ball will be placed on the 48-yard line of Fort Lee. So they come out of the huddle. There's now under 3 minutes to go here in the 3rd. They fake the handoff to Burns. Lau going to launch it downfield. Ball nearly intercepted. Pretty solid defensive play there, actually, by Damani Williams. He breaks it up before the pass can reach its intended target, Gabe Jimenez. Jimenez, the Fort Lee tight end, along with Donovan Doss-Young. Haven't called out Doss-Young's name today, but Jimenez did have a catch in that massive first half. 2nd and 10 from the 48, clock still running. This time, they do that nifty play again where Lau gives it to Burns and then Burns gives it to Cologne. Fort Lee has run that play several times tonight, and that time it's a pretty decent gain. Looks like it's going to be a gain of about 3 to the 49-yard line of the Maroon Raiders. So it'll be 3rd and 7. Big play here for Dwight Morrow. They have not been able to stop the Bridgemen yet. Can they get the ball back, not via a kickoff. Fort Lee needs to get to the 42. This time it's a straight handoff to Burns. Burns is close to the first down, and he's got it as he's at about the 40-yard line. I think they're going to say he was tackled at the 41. The teams really took their time in between halves. Halftime lasted for about 25 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. This third quarter has flown by. That's what the running clock will do for you. There's already under a minute to go here in the third quarter. Lau hands it off to Gutierrez. Gutierrez going to his right, bounces off a defender, and he is tackled by number 20. That is Sakai Maxwell, who sometimes himself plays the quarterback position for the Maroon Raiders. Maxwell, a freshman. And that might be the final play of the third quarter. It looks like Fort Lee is content to let it be. There's about 10 seconds to go here in the third, and it looks like no one is going to score here in quarter number 3. So put your 4 fingers up, fans. It is time for the fourth quarter. Don't know how exciting it's going to be, but Fort Lee very much in control here as they lead 33-0 after 3 quarters. So the field will flip. It'll be 2nd down and 8 from the 39 for the Fort Lee Bridgemen. They scored on each of their first 5 possessions, and then each team only got 1 possession in the third quarter because of the running clock. Including the first 3 quarters tonight, Fort Lee has outscored opponents 137-41 this season. This is a team that, honestly, you could argue has been dominant if you take away their loss against Cliffside Park, a 35-8 drubbing of Hapatcong, a 42-0 drubbing of Ferris. They squeaked by a good Eastside team. And now blowing out Dwight Morrow here under the Friday night lights at home. First play of the fourth quarter is a handoff to Burns. Burns easily has the first down. He has more. Finally dragged down at the 20-yard line from behind. I believe that was number 12 making the tackle. And I do not have a number 12 here listed for the Maroon Raiders. Is what it is, but another solid run for Tajon Burns, who is having one of his best games of the season. First and 10 from the 16-yard line for Fort Lee. This time they hand off to Cologne. Not sure what exactly the gain was there for Cologne. He got multiple yards at the very least. And they're going to stop the clock here with 10:50 to go in the fourth quarter while we figure out where the ball needs to be placed. All right, they've figured it out, so the clock is once again running. And it looks like we have a penalty against Fort Lee, so take away that run for Cologne. With another score, Fort Lee will have their second highest output of the season. They dropped 35 on Hapatcong in their first game of the year. So the Bridgemen backed up to the 26. It'll be 1st and 20. They're going to hand it off. Once again, it's Burns. It takes, once again, several defenders to take down Tajon Burns. He will simply not be denied this evening. Solid gain there on 1st and 20, so that once again gets the Bridgemen into the red zone. It'll be 2nd and 13 from the 19. It's another handoff. Jalen Balbuena, the sophomore, with a decent carry, and it's going to be 3rd and pretty manageable for the Bridgemen. Coach Charlie Salame getting some younger players in there, some players that might not see the field as much, as the Bridgemen are well on their way to a 2nd consecutive rout of a victory and what would be their 3rd win in a row. 10-yard run for Balbuena, so it's going to be 3rd and 3 from the 9. Now Lau to pass, or maybe take it himself. He will pass. The pass is caught. Was it in bounds? It looks like they're going to say it was, in fact, in bounds. That is Savion Camano. Usually he runs the ball, but he makes a catch here. And I believe it's a catch for a 1st down. In fact, it is. 1st and goal from the 4 for the Bridgemen, looking for their 6th touchdown of the night here on their 6th drive of the night. And that does include the drive that started with 19.6 seconds to go in the 2nd quarter. Got the ball back on a fumble on that one. Dwight Morrow's turned the ball over 3 times tonight. Is it a handoff? No. Lau running to his left. He throws it into the end zone, and the pass is going to be, I believe it was hauled in out of bounds by a member of the Bridgemen. So it'll be 2nd and 4.
Lau to King, incomplete. 2nd and goal for the 4.
Again, it's a running clock, so that's why the clock is still going, even though that was an incomplete pass. Said the 2nd half might go by much quicker than the 1st half, and so far it has. Fort Lee now ready for business. Lau steps up to his center. Center being number 55, Scott Hahn. They hand it off to Cologne. Cologne going to be short of the 1st down. Gain of 2 for Cologne on that one. So 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. We are just about halfway through the 4th and final quarter here in Fort Lee. Bridgemen up 33-0, looking for more. Lau sends Cologne in motion. Now he gives it to Cologne, and Cologne is into the end zone for the touchdown. Aiden Cologne with a 2-yard touchdown run. Fort Lee's had the ball 6 times, and guess what? They've scored 6 times.
Katsugiana's on the extra point, 39-0, pending the conversion.
Stasi Katsayanis on for the extra point. He's missed his last 2. Holding it will be Luke Senatori. Snap is very high. Senatori just going to pick it up and take it himself, and he is going to get tackled. He loses the ball, but that doesn't matter. Plays dead. I don't know if that's going to go as an attempt for Katsayanis because he did not kick the ball there. But in any event, With 5:56 to go in the game, it is a 39-0 lead for Fort Lee. That was the 4th touchdown run of the year for Aiden Colon. So check this out. Tajon Burns now has 6 touchdown runs and a receiving touchdown this year. Aiden Colon has 4 rushing touchdowns. Gutierrez has 3, and Camano has 2. My, oh my.
Call for the concession stand tonight. Anyone interested, please go down to the concession stand for the last.
Nice to meet you.